Hey, Pastor Josh here. We're reading Jeremiah chapter 39, verses 1 through 18. This is a terrible, sad chapter. This is the culmination of everything Jeremiah was prophesying. This is the fall of Jerusalem. This is when Nebuchadnezzar actually makes a breach in the walls. He comes in and utterly burns everything. In the 9th year of Zedekiah, king of Judah, in the 10th month, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and all his army came against Jerusalem and besieged it. In the 11th year of Zedekiah, in the 4th month, on the 9th day of the month, very specific, we know the time, we know the day, a breach was made in the city. That means the wall was actually broken, made down, or perhaps they went over. So the Babylonian army is actually inside Jerusalem. Then all the officials of the king of Babylon came and sat in the middle gate. So here they come, and they're sitting there, right there, trying to see, okay, what are they going to do? Are they going to attack us? What's going to happen? Making a plan. We've made it inside. Now we need to actually take over what's going on here. And who knows who's going to shoot an arrow at us, come at us with a sword. So they're sitting there. We've got a lot of these Babylonian names here. Nergal-Sar-Ezer of Samgar, Nabu-Sar-Sekim, the Rabsaris, and Nergal-Sar-Ezer, the Rabmag, with all the rest of the officers of the king of Babylon. So here they come, sitting there, enemy soldiers inside Jerusalem. When Zedekiah, king of Judah, and all the soldiers saw them, they fled. Very poor example to follow. Zedekiah could have ended this. They've had the word of the Lord through the prophet Jeremiah. They had that promise that if they would have surrendered to Zedekiah, or if they would have surrendered to Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, it would have ended well for the people. That was the promise. Zedekiah chose not to believe that. And then when the army actually breaks down the walls, Zedekiah and the soldiers with him had the gall to flee. They ran away. And they went out of the city at night. So not only did they run away, they did it at night by way of the king's garden through the gate between the two walls, and they went toward Arabah. So they run away, going away. But the army of the Chaldeans pursued them and overtook Zedekiah in the plains of Jericho. And when they had taken him, they brought him up to Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, at Riblah. So they went up to where, so Nebuchadnezzar wasn't actually in Jerusalem when the breach in the wall happened. He was a little bit a ways off in the land of Hamath, and he passed sentence on him. The king of Babylon slaughtered the sons of Zedekiah at Riblah before his eyes, and the king of Babylon slaughtered all the nobles of Judah. Again, a terrible scene. Zedekiah sees his own children killed right before him. It's the last vision he has in his eyes. And then verse 7, Nebuchadnezzar put out the eyes of Zedekiah and bound him in chains to take him to Babylon. It didn't have to end this way. We just read in the last chapter that it could have went a different way. But Zedekiah chose not to follow the Lord. Verse 8, the Chaldeans burned the king's house and the house of the people, broke down the walls of Jerusalem. So everything's burnt up. Everything that Jeremiah was prophesying up to this point, it has actually come to pass. In Jeremiah's position, office as prophet was vindicated. Because up to this point, it's like, well, maybe he's wrong. Maybe he's not really God's prophet. And here it is. What he said would happen, did happen. And for Jeremiah, it's going to be a hard thing. At some point, right, you're relieved. Okay, I wasn't just hearing voices. I wasn't just following a demon, perhaps. But this really was the word of the Lord, and it really did happen. So there's got to be some relief in knowing, okay, my message was actually true. It did happen. But at the same time, it's going to be extremely burdensome to see what you've said come true, and ultimately this kind of destruction, this kind of death. What a heavy load Jeremiah has. This is why he is called the weeping prophet. That's why the book of Lamentations is attributed to him, mourning the fall of Jerusalem. Just what a heavy, heavy, heavy load Jeremiah had to bear. Then Nebuzaradan, this is the captain of the guard, not Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuzaradan, carried into exile to Babylon the rest of the people who were left in the city, those who had deserted to him, and the people who remained. Everybody left, going as slaves to Babylon. Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, left in the land of Judah some of the poor people who owned nothing and gave them vineyards and fields at the same time. So, okay, we're going to leave those that don't have anything, leave you in the land, we'll give you some vineyards and fields that you can try to kind of keep up. Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, gave command concerning Jeremiah through Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, saying, "Take him, look after him, and do him no harm, but deal with him as he tells you." Here's a good attitude that we need to adopt of ourselves, is to realize that God will take care of us. Maybe not exactly the way that we would prefer, but he does take care of us. He took care of Jeremiah through the destruction. I'm sure Jeremiah and everybody else would have preferred the destruction not to happen, but God is taking care of Jeremiah through Nebuchadnezzar, saying, "Look, take him, look after him well, and do him no harm." Because I'm sure Nebuchadnezzar knew the message that Jeremiah was preaching and teaching, and he's probably thinking, well, this guy's kind of favorable toward me, and it also seems like what he says happens. So let's not do anything bad to him. Why don't we take care of him and see how it goes from there. If you remember, Nebuchadnezzar also had some encounters with another prophet in Babylon, Daniel, right? So Nebuchadnezzar has gotten close to God through some very powerful prophets. So Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, Nebuchadnezzar, the Rabsaris, Nergal-Sar-Ezer, the Rab-Mag, and all the chief officers of the king of Babylon sent and took Jeremiah from the court of the guard. So he's leaving this place of imprisonment that he was at. I also want to take just a few moments by note. If look at the specifics, and we've really come to a part where there's like a lot of names, and we're told like who their daddy was and their grandfather was in a list of several names. I think that just kind of gives a flavor of an eyewitness account. Like, this is somebody that really knew who all was involved, and they wrote it down. We don't know who these people are, but they are recorded because it actually really happened. They entrusted him to Gedaliah, the son of Ahikam. So this is now the governor of Jerusalem. Nebuchadnezzar is going to put Gedaliah in charge of Jerusalem. Not making him a king, but he is a governor. He's going to be in charge of it, because now Jerusalem isn't just its independent state with its own king that gets to choose to obey or not obey the king of Babylon. No, Babylon is saying, no, we're going to have a particular leader here, and they answer to me, and they do exactly what I tell them to do. So Gedaliah, Jeremiah is entrusted to Gedaliah, the son of Shaphan, that he should take him home. So he lived among the people. And now we have a bit of a flashback here. This is the word of the Lord that came to Jeremiah while he was shut up in the court of the guard. So before he was freed and before there was a breach in the city, as we'll find out what actually happens, the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah to go tell Ebed-Melech something. So God told Jeremiah, said, Go and say to Ebed-Melech, remember, he's the one that pulled him out of the cistern. Ebed-Melech was the one that went and got those rags and to make sure that when they were pulling Jeremiah out of the cistern with the ropes, that he could put it under his armpit so he wouldn't get rope burned as he was being pulled out. Thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Behold, I will fulfill my words against this city for harm and not for good, and they shall be accomplished before you on that day. Again, that's that promise we've been hearing over and over again. He is going to pass judgment. Of course, we have to remember our contemporary version of this eternal version of it is hell. God will judge. God will pass judgment and punish anybody who has chosen not to receive salvation through Jesus Christ. But here's what God says to Ebed-Melech. He says, "But I will deliver you on that day, declares the Lord, and you shall not be given into the hand of the men of whom you are afraid. For I will surely save you, and you shall not fall by the sword, but you shall have your life as a prize of war, because you have put your trust in me, declares the Lord." Here's kind of like an appendix, if you will. It's right here at the end of this section saying that, hey, all of this disaster came, but God was faithful to take care of Ebed-Melech, the Ethiopian. He protected him. He was worried. He was a part of the king's servants, and he was worried that he would be killed. But no, we got this little appendix in here saying, no, God took care of Ebed-Melech. He protected him through all of this. He was not one of those that was taken to Riblah and killed before the king of Babylon and before the king of Jerusalem, Zedekiah. Pray that that has been helpful to you as you've continued this journey through the book of Jeremiah. We are now going to come up onto chapter 40. And we are almost there. So congratulations. Proud of you if you have read and watched all these videos. I pray that it has been a blessing to you. If you're not, you can always go back and read and watch them later on if you so desire. But either way, I will see you in the next video.